Right, I've got something a little bit different for you today. I've got a problem basically, and I thought it would be good to try and solve it. Bit of backstory for you. I'm filming a music video on Sunday and I need some way to stabilise my footage. Now, I've got this, which is the Zhiyun Smooth-Q mobile gimbal, and the whole video is going to be shot on mobile, so in theory this is great. However, a couple of complications have come into play. One of those is that we're going to film the video in one take from start to finish, and basically for the entire thing the talent is going to be walking towards me and singing, and I'm going to be walking backwards. So fine, you could say the gimbal would be absolutely fine for doing that. However, slight other complication, there's some crew members, and the crew members are going to be bringing stuff in from either side and they need to see what is in shot, so then that adds an extra complication. Now, I've sort of solved that problem. Stay with me here. If I use Filmic Pro, sorry, I'm just looking for my other iPhone. So here. So if I use the app Filmic Pro, which is a really good camera app for the iPhone, then what I can do is I can use a second iPhone or an iPad as a monitor, right? So this is where I'm at so far. And what I've got here, this contraption, is an old flash bracket and a magic arm. And what I can do is I can mount the gimbal like this, okay? So it gives me two handles, and then I can mount a second phone on here. Now, as you can see, that does work, but I'm not really happy with it. The other thing is, I can see us having to do quite a lot of takes to get this right, and I want the footage to be as smooth as possible, and with the extra stuff attached, it gets a bit heavy and a bit unwieldy. So I wondered if I could maybe make a double-handled rig. The only problem is I haven't got much time, and I don't really want to spend any money on it. So I've kind of got a plan that I've sort of started. I've tried to work this out to make a double-handled rig to attach this gimbal to attach an iPad to, and to make it. And I haven't done this, I haven't really started yet, so I thought I would just do it and record it and see what happens, which could be a complete disaster, or as I'm hoping it might actually do the job. So I have had a little bit of help so far, and a good friend of mine, Mike Street, has done this last night. So he made this thing, and you can see how this might start to pan out. So this is just some old bit of wood that he had in his garden. He's cut it down, put a couple of screws in. It's not necessarily that strong at the moment, but I'd kind of given up. He turned up to work today with this, and it really got me thinking. So here's the plan. What I've got to do is I've got some angle brackets which I can put on these corners to firm that up a little bit, and then I've got this old base plate. The idea being we can mount this base plate on here, and on that base plate we can then mount a proper Manfrotto base plate, which will give us a tripod attachment, and that is what the gimbal hopefully can then attach to with the right plate on, like that. Okay, so you can already see how that's now going to give us two handles. And then what I can then do, trip it over, sorry about the mess, it's absolute chaos tonight. So if that all goes to plan, what I should then be able to do is attach this magic arm to it, and either attach a second iPhone to this, which will point forwards towards the talent so the crew can see what's actually being filmed and see if they're bringing things into shot. They can see if they're in shot or out of shot and adjust accordingly. So this can go on as well. So the other thing, right, is I may have got overexcited here. This is now going, I think actually that would be fine as it is, but it's kind of rough, not very nice on the hands. So I then started to wonder if I've got a bit of black spray paint that was left over from a previous project, so maybe we can jazz it up, make it look a bit more professional, you know. We're not amateurs after all, are we? And also, I've got this, which is a tennis racket handle tape. Thought, give myself a little bit of comfort, you know, when I'm filming. Could be holding on to it for quite a long time, so I can wrap that around the handle, and maybe that could be quite nice as well. So yeah, so the first thing I've got to do is bolt the base plate on and make sure the thing actually functions, and then I can spend a bit of time finessing it and getting it right. So first up, I've got this old base plate. This was off Handheld stabilizer I don't really use anymore, and then I've got this, which is a unofficial knockoff Manfrotto base plate. So the idea is that I can just screw these together. I don't know if this is just me, but the problem with living in a flat is I do tend to end up using power tools in my office and getting quite a bit of mess somewhere sometimes. But you know, I haven't got a garden, I haven't got a garage. Sometimes you just got to do what you've got to do, haven't you? Ah, bollocks. Okay. Put a tiny hole in my desk there. So now the next thing is I'm just going to put this base plate on the bottom of the gimbal. So then the theory goes that this should now clip on there. I can lock that. Yes. So you can see how that's starting to come together. And if I've got to hold that for an hour, then that's nicer, and probably getting my hands further away from the gimbal will also make that a little bit smoother and better, hopefully. So, right. So I think that's like the proof of concept. So now I can spend a bit of time maybe just making it look a little bit less like a cowboy effort and a little bit more like something that you might see on a professional film set. Is that right? Actually, before I paint it, I've realised I'm going to put these on to the corners here. I'm going to put one on each side. You see that? So I'm going to put one of these on each side just to give it a bit more strength, because at the moment it's just got one screw in there. So one of these on each side I think will give it a bit more strength. Done one side. Right, so I've put these brackets on to make it a bit stronger. Now I'm going to go and paint it, but I'm not doing that inside. I'm going outside, so I'll see you when it fits. Right, I'm back. So I've done that. So now this is what we're looking at. So I've not bothered painting the handles particularly well, but that main crossbar is now completely black. It's still a little bit tacky. Sort of raining outside, so not ideal painting situation, so I just need to prop this somewhere, prop that there to dry. In case you're wondering, I'm using this is called Plasticoat. This is just acrylic based matte spray paint. It's really good. You can cover pretty much anything with it. You're probably meant to use like a base coat, but for this it doesn't really matter. The wood's really porous, so just a couple of quick coats of that, and I think it makes it look a lot better. So yeah, once that's dry, I need to actually attach those base plates properly to it, the final fix, get the handles on, get the phone on, make sure that it balances, and then add the magic arm. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing next. And just to show you as well, the base plate, all I've done with this is I've got the longer base plate like this, the Manfrotto base plate on top, and then I've just popped two bolts through. They go straight through the wood, two holes that I've drilled very quickly in the wood, and then a washer and a nut on the underside just to make sure it's really tight. Obviously I don't want the gimbal to be moving or have any give in it, and I certainly don't want it to fly off while I'm filming, so pretty important to make sure that's secure. This has pretty much dried, and I'm sorry it's got a bit darker now, but I haven't set any lights up, so sorry about that. But yes, so we've got this now, black paint's pretty much dried, so now I need to attach this base plate back on, so I'm going to do that now. So now that's attached on there, I've got some tennis racket handle bar tape. I've never used this before. I don't know if it's going to go on, but I figured it might be a bit nicer than just holding the wood. I've also just got this bit of electrical tape. I figured I could just maybe tidy the ends up as well, and it's red, so you know, that'd be nice. This is no good, is it? I'm going to have to put some light on. You guys probably can't even see me. That's a bit better, isn't it? Sorry about that. Right, so yes, as I was saying before I realised it was pitch black, we've now got the bars, they're black, we've got the base plate mounted on there. I've put some tape on the ends just so that once the bar tape's on, that bit's covered as well. Now I've got to figure out what I'm doing with this. This is tennis racket handle cover. I don't know how this works. I need to read the instructions. How hard can it be? So yeah, you can see that is one handle. It looks pretty good. It's very comfortable, I can tell you that. So now I've just got to do the other one. Yeah, you know, earlier when I said applying racket tape, how hard can it be? Well, it turns out really, really hard, actually. Not the tidiest of jobs at all. It feels like one of those jobs where you just never really got enough hands. So yeah, that's it now, pretty much finished. Nice and sturdy. The only thing left to do is put the gimbal on. Yeah, there you have it, finished thing. So definitely a lot smoother action than just using it like so. Definitely much smoother, strong enough that I can touch the screen and focus if I need to. Yeah, pretty pleased with that. So yes, well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I know that was a little bit different to my normal style of video. I didn't really know how this was going to pan out, so thank you for sticking with me. But I think we've proved that it's not necessarily about the gear that you have. It's just about how you use it. And this, I mean, I can't even really work out how much this cost. I think the only thing I really bought was the grip tape and a few nuts and bolts in the right size. Everything else I had knocking around. And yeah, I think this is going to do an absolutely great job for the video shoot at the weekend. I'm probably going to do a behind the scenes. Hopefully I will if I have the headspace on the day to do a behind the scenes while I'm there. So, and I'll definitely share the finished video with you when that is done. But I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of thing, filmmaking, learning, photography, this kind of, I don't even know what this is, DIY stuff, then subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified when I next upload a video. And other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.